morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special episode of Mornings with Miranda. Today we'll be talking about Lord of the Flies, more specifically, the kids that managed to survive unthinkable odds. After crash landing onto an uninhabited island, these boys managed to organize themselves and found a way to survive long enough to be here with us right now. That's not saying that there weren't any hiccups along the way. So without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to our first survivor, Ralph.
Hey, Miranda.
Thank you for joining us today, Ralph.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, okay then, whatever you say. Say, Ralph, before we go on, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, for starters, I was a colonel before, I went to the island where things happened. Just a bunch of stuff happened. I had some friends over there, and I had people that worked with me in the army when I served. Fortunately, Jack killed them all, so.
Beg pardon?
Yeah, that son of a gun killed two of my people. Simon died because they thought he was a monster in the night, and they stabbed him to death, and Biggie died with the rock falling on his head, huge boulder.
Well, I thought you were bluffing, but I suppose I can't argue with you. Just thinking about that, that's just barbaric, don't you think? Children killing each other in what is essentially a free-for-all on a tropical island.
Yeah, of course. I thought since I was the colonel, they made me leader, and I thought I could control them all, but, Jack, he could be a smarty pants, and in his mind, in his wrong, evil mind, he thought rescue is not as important as food. So he left the fire out, he went to get food. It was all his fault, and ever since that, I haven't talked to him, but I bet he's had many cases of murder on his, list.
Well, it's been a joy having you on here. Why don't you just head on now?
But I'm not done.
I said get out. Well, that was our first guest. We'll be right back with our next guest after this break. Welcome back. Well, that was certainly interesting, to say the least. Why don't we have our next guest come up?
Well, this is Morning with Miranda. Good morning, Miranda.
Well then, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here outside of the prison cell.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Let's see here, Jack.
Yeah, the guy who killed two people on that island.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Well, without further ado, why don't you just describe your time on the island?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did a bunch of wrong things. I should have just stayed with Jack. I shouldn't have just left him and went to do my own thing. He had better ideas. He was smarter. He was, he had the skill of being a leader. I was just there because I thought, oh yeah, I'm important, But he's famous for surviving the island, but I'm famous because I killed two people.
Well, you can't blame you. We all make mistakes. Some of us forget to turn something in, or maybe you end up guiding a tribe of savage teens to kill two teens. Potato, tomato.
There's a difference.
Sure. Anything else you want to say before we send you off?
No, I think I'm good. Do you have any questions for me?
How was the weather?
Just different. It depends. Some days there's clear skies. Some days it was raining and there was thunder and striking of lightning. The night I killed Simon. But just a regular, typical area. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I'm glad to be on your show.
Yes, I see you'd best be off.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Honestly, I got tired of him really quick.
I heard that.
Well, is there anyone else in the room? No? Oh, okay, I guess that seems to be it for tonight. Thank you for staying with us on Mornings with Miranda. Welcome back, everyone. Today we will be interviewing Ralph and Jack one more time. I want to invite Ralph onto the show again. How are you doing today, Ralph?
It's been better. How about you, Miranda?
I could be a lot better, but that's not what matters right now. Do you know why we called you back onto the show?
No, I don't.
Well, we're not done questioning you just yet. I have a few more questions to ask you, if you don't mind, of course.
Well, I'm already in the call, so why not?
That's the spirit. Now that we have that established, let's move on to the first question of the day. What could you have done to stop all of the bloodshed that happened on the island?
Well, now that you ask, I suppose I could have done something to, stop the bloodshed, but I was too scared to risk my own life going to save everyone. In the end, Simon and Piggy, they both died.
Were they the only ones to die? Or were you going to be next?
Funny of you to ask that. Both of them died, and I was actually supposed to be the next victim. When they were chasing after me, I was hiding and running at the same time.
What ended up happening?
I was running toward the shore when I tripped. As soon as I was able to stop myself from sliding, I was about to get up and continue running, but I didn't bother. I was saved by the U.S. Marines stopping because of the fire that Jack caused.
Well, I'll be. If that ain't a stroke of luck, I don't know what is.
Exactly. I haven't been that lucky my whole life.
Moving on, what would you have thought would happen if you and the boys weren't rescued?
I would have been killed right on the spot. Jack would have continued running the camp, and I can almost bet that everyone would have died off. If it wasn't for the accidental fire and the exact moment the Marines showed up, man, I wouldn't have even been here right now.
Well, I can safely say that is a pretty good assumption of what would happen. Before we send you off, however, I have one more question for you. Why do you think everyone went to join Jack's group if it was obvious that you were a good leader and that you were all about survival and getting rescued, when Jack was more about staying on the island and getting food?
Probably because he was, much more into fighting and not strategic thinking. If I knew anything about the male mind, it would be that, we're more about fighting to survive and not strategic thinking. I would know from personal experience, and I'm not talking about the island.
Do you have anything else to tell us before you leave?
I don't know, probably to increase your chances of survival in any possible way.
Well, if that's all you have to say, I guess it's time to send you off. It's been nice having you on the show, Ralph.
It was a pleasure. Have a good rest of your day, Miranda.
Well, he was certainly a delight to have on the show this time around. Without stalling, let's introduce our next guest on our show, Jack.
Hello?
Welcome back, Jack.
Well, good morning, Miranda.
Anything you want to put out of the way before we start?
I've heard you've been talking to Ralph. How's he doing?
He's fine for the most part, doing fine.
Good to hear. And yourself, Miranda?
I'm fine for the most part. Now, if you don't mind, why don't we get into the questions? How come you resorted to being savage and killing people off for power?
I honestly thought that because we were stranded on an island, I had to enforce the rules so that I could have control on everyone. And so I ended up killing 2 innocent lives, and because of my foolish decisions. The island was dark, I became dark, and killing Simon was an accident, but I could have stopped it. Killing Piggy was accidental as well, but I could have told Roger to stop.
Sure, accidental. Moving on, one more question I did have is, did you ever believe in the beast, or did you just use it as a fear tactic?
At some point, I didn't think it was real until we went to the cave where it lived. But after the Marines searched the whole island, the Marines found the dead body of the pilot in the cave, which was where the beast we were scared of was.
Well, at least the rumor was proven true. Anything else you would like to say?
I just kind of want to apologize to Ralph, but I can't. Well, too bad. Do you have any more questions for me?
No, that seems to be it for today.
Well, I'm glad I could be on your show again, Miranda.
It was a pleasure having you on. Well, best you be off now.
Yep, have a good day, Miranda.
You too, Jack. Well, today has been a very extensive segment of Mornings with Miranda. Tune in next time on Mornings with Miranda. Good day.